Hello everyone, this episode is a little later than I intended, so without further ado, welcome back to the Roast House with Paul Burns. So my original plan was to do a singular episode based on England, and more specifically York, as that is where this episode's feature coffee is from. So far I'd based my previous episodes around Poland, Ireland and China. While I've been researching about England and coffee, I just kept finding more and more information and ended up going down a bit of a rabbit hole. So then I decided the episode would be a double episode. And with it being the King's coronation, I decided to push it to the coronation weekend and do a double episode based on coffee, England, and how it related to the British monarchy. The first of this double episode, we will be looking at our regular features such as coffee news, facts, and myths. Then look at some of coffee history and how coffee ended up in England, and finally be trying this episode's feature coffee. First up is the coffee news. The non-profit World Coffee Research, WCR, released the Robusta Variety Catalogue. The catalogue profiles nearly 50 different varieties of Robusta coffee species and is available in English and Spanish. It comes nearly 7 years after the WCR published the Arabica Coffee Varieties Catalogue. The catalogues are published side by side and are designed as free tools for use by farmers or other planting decision makers. As the life of a coffee tree is typically a decade, meaning that they can make long-term decisions and plans. The Robusta Variety Catalogue includes varieties cultivated in Vietnam, Brazil, Indonesia, Uganda and Mexico. The guide shows more than 20 variables in each variety profile, including yield potential, stature, bean size, plant nutrition, requirements, pest disease susceptibility, and more. Next on the coffee news, Coffea liberica, aka Liberica, a coffee species that has been long existed alongside Arabica and Robusta, could become more available due to the disruptions in the global supply stream. R.M.P. Davis of Kew Botanical Gardens in London and other authors suggest that the development of Liberica and its Excelsior variant may prove to be the least disruptive, most cost-effective and most successful climate adaptation strategy for the coffee sector as a whole. Liberica is known to produce much larger fruits and beans, as the trees can reach up to 11 metres tall, much larger than the Arabica and Robusta shrubs. Liberica has a long history of cultivation and commercialisation dating back to the 1800s. Most recently, in the 90s, Liberica was promoted in places such as Borneo, Malaysia, Uganda and Sudan. Finally on today's coffee news, the Amsterdam and London coffee festivals were held recently. Just to give you an overview of the events, starting with the Amsterdam Coffee Festival, which is one of the most popular annual events in the city that celebrates culture and art of coffee. The festival was first held in 2015 and since then it has become a much anticipated event for coffee lovers around the world. The London Coffee Festival is an annual event held in London that celebrates all things coffee. The festival was first held in 2011 and has since grown to become one of the largest coffee events in the world. The festival attracts coffee lovers, industry professionals and exhibitors from around the globe. The festivals range up to 3 days and include showcases of the latest trends and innovations in the coffee industry, from the beans to the brewing techniques. One of the main attractions of the coffee festivals is the opportunity to sample some of the best coffees from around the world. Visitors can taste different blends and single origin coffees, as well as try out different brewing methods, including pour over, espresso and cold brew. As well as coffee tastings, the festival also features a range of activities and events. Visitors can attend workshops and masterclasses to learn more about coffee brewing techniques, latte art and coffee sustainability. There are also coffee competitions, live music performances and food stalls that offer a variety of delicious treats. The coffee festivals are not just for industry professionals, but also for anyone who loves coffee. It provides a unique opportunity for coffee enthusiasts to learn more about the coffee industry and its impact on the environment and society. The festival organisers also prioritise sustainability and social responsibility. They ensure that all coffee served at the event is ethically sourced and they promote eco-friendly practices such as recycling and reducing waste. The main area is the Coffee Masters competition, where baristas from around the world compete to be crowned the Coffee Master. The competition consists of a series of challenges that test the barista's skills in areas such as brewing, latte art and sensory skills. Another area of the festival is the Roasters Village, where coffee roasters from around the world showcase their products and brewing techniques. Visitors to the roasters village can sample a variety of coffees and learn about the different roasting methods used by the roasters. The festival also features a brew bar where visitors can watch live demonstrations of different brewing methods such as pour over and French press. The brew bar is staffed by expert baristas who can answer any questions visitors may have about brewing techniques and equipment. In addition to these main areas of the festival, there are also a number of smaller events and workshops. These include cupping sessions, where visitors can taste and compare different coffees, and talks and seminars on topics such as sustainability and the future of the coffee industry. One of the highlights of the coffee festivals is the opportunity for visitors to try new and innovative coffee products. Many exhibitors use the festival as a platform to launch new products such as coffee-infused beers, cold brew, coffee cocktails, and coffee-flavoured chocolate. The Coffee Festival is also known for its commitment to sustainability. The festival aims to reduce its environmental impact by using compostable cups and providing recycling facilities for visitors in addition to the festival partners. These coffee festivals are held all over the world, including Paris, France, Sao Paulo, Brazil, New York, USA, LA, USA, Milan, Italy, Cape Town, South Africa, and Toronto, Canada, as well as other events in their calendar. You can find any of these events by going to www. Then the name of the city mentioned, followed by coffeefestival.com. For example, www.milancoffeefestival.com. Shout out to Roxanne from South California, who has an awesome Instagram and TikTok page for creating and displaying coffee recipes. I've tried a few of the recipes myself, including the caramel toasted marshmallow latte, the homemade horchata, and the banana cream mocha. There is tons of recipes and creative videos alongside them. Roxanne had never drank much coffee until she had kids, and she has said to me that she has a sweet tooth, which is reflected in her videos. You can find Roxanne at roxanne.ellen on Instagram and Rocksteady, that's Rox XX and Steady Y on TikTok for all her great videos. If you try any recipes, leave a comment for me or Roxanne. Today's first feature is the history of England and coffee. England and coffee have a long and complex history that spans centuries. Coffee was first introduced to England in the 16th century, and it quickly became a popular drink among the upper classes. Over time, coffee became an important part of English culture, and it has played a significant role in shaping the country's history. By the 16th century, coffee had made its way to Europe. Coffee was initially seen as a novelty, and it was consumed primarily by the wealthy and educated. In England, coffee houses began to spring up in the 17th century, and they quickly became popular gathering places for intellectuals, artists, and politicians. The first coffee house in England was opened in Oxford in 1654, and it quickly became a popular destination for scholars and students. Soon after, other coffee houses began to open in London and other cities throughout England. These coffee houses served as meeting places for people from all walks of life, and they were often used as venues for political and social discussions. In the 17th and 18th centuries, coffee houses played an important role in the development of English culture. They became places where people could gather to discuss ideas and share information, and they were often used as venues for plays, concerts, and other cultural events. Coffee houses also played a significant role in the development of journalism. Many of the first newspapers in England were written and printed in coffee houses, and they were often distributed to the patrons free of charge. During the 18th century, coffee became an important commodity in England, and the country began to import large quantities of coffee from around the world. This led to the rise of coffee plantations in countries like Jamaica, where coffee was grown and harvested for export to England. The coffee trade became an important source of income for many English merchants, and it helped to fuel the country's industrial revolution. By the 19th century, coffee had become an integral part of English culture. It was consumed by people from all walks of life, and it was available in a variety of different forms, including espresso, cappuccino, and latte. Coffee houses continued to be popular gathering places, and they were often used as venues for business, meetings, and social events. In the 20th century, coffee became more popular in England, and it was consumed in ever-increasing quantities. Coffee houses continued to be popular gathering places, but they were joined by a new breed of coffee shops that offered a more modern and stylish atmosphere. These coffee shops help fuel the growth of the coffee industry in England. Today, coffee is one of the most popular beverages in England, and it is consumed by millions of people every day. The country is home to a wide variety of coffee shops ranging from small independent cafes to large multinational chains. Coffee remains an important part of English culture, and it continues to play a significant role in shaping the country's history. The oldest and continually serving coffee house in England is also the oldest continually serving coffee house in Europe. The Queen's Lane Coffee House is an historic coffee house established by Sir Jobson from Syria. It dates back to 1654, although it has only been on the present site since 1970. The coffee house is where Jeremy Bentham first developed the concept of utilitarianism. The coffee house is situated on the north side of the High Street at number 40, on the corner of Queen's Lane, hence the name Queen's Lane Coffee House. It is a popular tourist spot, as well as with the local students at Oxford University. In 2009, it rebranded itself as QL. There were 3 branches, one called Café Bonjour, which was sold and no longer part of the same ownership, and a delicatessen on the high street called QL Cafe and Delicatessen. The cafe has been owned by the same family since 1983, and along with coffee serves a wide range of traditional British dishes such as fish and chips, pies, and the full English breakfast. It also offers Turkish and Mediterranean dishes including moussaka, kofta, salads, and vegetarian and halal alternatives. You can find Queen's Lane Coffee at Queen's Lane Coffee House on Instagram and at www.qlcoffeehouse.com. Next up is 5 facts and 5 myths about England and coffee. First, the facts. First, the English were known for their preference for strong, dark coffee and developed a unique coffee brewing method known as the British cupping method. Second, the British East India Company played a significant role in the spread of coffee cultivation and trade, helping to establish coffee plantations in India and Ceylon, now Sri Lanka. Next, today England is one of the top coffee consuming countries in Europe, with a thriving specialty coffee scene and growing number of independent coffee shops. Also, in the UK we consume 90 million cups of coffee a day. And this episode's final fact, coffee consumption in the UK varies by age. Gen Z, under 20 years old, drink 0.5 cups a day. Millennials drink 1.3 cups a day. Gen X drink 2.1 cups a day. And beyond that, they average about 2.2 cups a day. Next up is English coffee myths. First, English people only drink tea. While tea is a popular choice in England, coffee has been rapidly gaining popularity in recent years. Next myth, coffee in England is always served with milk. While it's true that many people in England enjoy coffee with milk, it's not always the case. Some people prefer their coffee black or with alternative milk options like oat or almond milk. Third myth, English coffee is always weak. This is a common misconception, but it's not true. There are plenty of cafes and coffee shops in England that serve strong, robust coffee. Next, England doesn't have a coffee culture. While coffee culture may not be as established in England as it is in some other countries, it's rapidly growing. There are plenty of coffee shops and cafes in England that serve specialty coffee and have a thriving coffee culture. And today's final myth, instant coffee is the only option in England. While instant coffee is widely available in England, and 80% of UK households purchase instant coffee, there are plenty of other options available as well. You can find freshly brewed coffee at many cafes and coffee shops, and there are also many specialty coffee roasters in England. In fact, we spend over $4 billion in coffee shops per year. Quick shout out with an update from Frank at Mini Baristas. He's currently leasing his mobile coffee shop to vendors and baristas with a permit. I know I have a few listeners in the US, so anyone interested, message him at Mini Baristas on Instagram and Twitter, or drop me a message and I will send you a link to his page. Today's second feature, and our feature coffee, is based on York. York is an historic city in northern England, and it has a rich history when it comes to coffee. From its introduction in the 17th century to its widespread popularity today, coffee has played an important role in York's social and cultural identity. So let's delve into the history of coffee in York. Coffee first arrived in York in the mid-17th century, brought by traders from the Middle East and Turkey. At that time, coffee was a luxury item, only enjoyed by the wealthy and influential members of society. In the late 1650s, a coffee house called the Angel Inn was established in York, becoming the first coffee house in the city. The Angel Inn became a popular meeting place for merchants, politicians, and intellectuals who would gather to discuss business, politics, and current events over a cup of coffee. One of the most famous coffee houses in York was the Assembly Rooms Coffee House, which opened in 1732. The Assembly Rooms quickly became a hub for the city's social elite, who would gather there to drink coffee, play games, and attend concerts and dances. The coffee house was also used for meetings of the York Masonic Lodge, a fraternal organisation that was influential in the city's political and social life. By the mid-19th century, coffee had become a staple of everyday life in York. Coffee houses were no longer just places for the wealthy and influential. They were also popular with the working class. In the 1840s, a coffee roasting company called Taylors of Harrogate was founded in nearby Harrogate, which is now one of the most famous coffee brands in the UK. Taylor opened its first shop in York in the 1880s, selling freshly roasted coffee beans to locals and tourists alike. Most people recognise these coffee houses now as Betty's. In the 20th century, coffee continued to be a popular beverage in York. Today's coffee culture is thriving in York. The city is home to a wide variety of cafes and coffee houses, serving everything from traditional espresso drinks to specialty brews made from beans sourced around the world. Many of these cafes are located in the historic buildings, giving visitors a taste of York's rich coffee house history. That brings on to today's coffee. The coffee I'm trying today is from a coffee and tea specialist in York called the York Emporium. They source high quality beans and loose leaf tea from around the world, and all orders are freshly roasted and handpicked at their York-based roastery. Their experienced team of coffee roasters create single origin and coffee blends and import beans from all over the world. They produce coffee for retail as well as custom roasts like the one I am trying to this episode, which was produced for Barley Hall off Stonegate in York. Barley Hall is a medieval building rediscovered in 1984, and it was not until the site was sold for redevelopment that the extent of the medieval structure became clear. The cafe is an 18th century coffee house and is located in the coffee yard of Barley Hall, and it is supplied by local businesses such as bread, cakes and pastries from Haxby Bakehouse and Blueberry Bakery, as well as its very own coffee blend from York Emporium, which we are trying today. As always, the coffee is served in an 8-cup French press at 54 grams of coarsely ground coffee to 972 ml of boiling filtered water between 90 to 96 degrees. The coffee's description describes itself as a whole bean blend sourced from Colombia, Honduras and Ethiopia. Its tasting notes are dark chocolate, toffee and citrus. Once brewed, the aromas of the coffee gave off a sweet smell. I could detect the dark chocolate, which was the predominant note. When slurping the coffee, I found it quite acidic, with quite sharp and bitter flavours, which could be the citrus notes coming through. I paired it with several foods, including some apricot jam, dark chocolate, almond biscotti and cinnamon roll. Out of all the flavours, the dark chocolate and the apricot jam seem to neutralise the bitter and make the coffee flavours come through more sweet. I personally like bitter coffees and often make them into a cold brew and serve them with lemon. This would make a good after dinner coffee with some chocolate. I have a feeling it would make a good cold brew too. If it does, I will post it on my Instagram page. That's it for part 1. Part 2 will be continuing our English themed episode and we'll look at coffee and the British monarchy. We will also be trying a special edition coffee from Fortnum & Mason called King's Blend. Until next time, you have been listening to From the Roast House with Paul Burns.